and I said I was going to finish up with the story about how I got into the music industry. So, you know, like I was saying, is that I was uh, I was on the train. You know what I mean? At 145th Edgecombe on the D train. I was living on Marion Avenue. I said that before. I was living on Marion Avenue, um, in the Bronx, right off Fordham Road. So I was headed there, headed to the Fordham Road stop on the D train. And I was at 145th Street. I don't know why I was in there, but like I said, like I spent a lot of time and a lot of years in that area, 145th, Edgecombe, Broadway. You know what I mean? From like, from 125, like, Harlem. You know what I mean? Uptown. That was my town. That was my part of town. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time, a lot of hours. You know what I mean? Um, in them neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm up in the Bronx, and heading home, I had guys singing. Nigga had a nice voice. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, yo, that sound good. And like I said, he LGBT, but I didn't really know he was LGBT. You know, like now that I know he had signs, because his hair was like dyed red. You know what I mean? But like a natural red, like a brownish red. So anyway, yo, and he was like, what I mean? Like putting his whole heart in the song, you know what I mean? I said, yo, I'm just getting out of school. You know what I mean? I'm, finished, you know what I mean? Like with the drugs and managing and addiction, and you know what I mean. So now I'm like, I don't have no attachments. You know what I mean? No collar around my neck. You know what I mean? No monkey on my back. You know what I mean? So I'm like ready to work. And I'm coming home. I was home from prison. You know what I mean? I'm living in the Bronx, and I was working in Jersey, coming back and forth. Like anyway, to pay rent. But anyway, I was on 145th Street, and he's singing like, you know what I mean, like an angel. You know how you would picture an angel. I don't even like, I don't even really into angels and all of that, but that just sound like it you know what I'm saying, like it would describe who he sounded like. I was like, yo, we got to work, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking to get into the music thing, you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, yo, I'm a studio manager at Giant Recording Studio. He gave me his card and said to call him. I said, what? I said, bad. Yo, it's on. I'm hitting the car like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, we was on the train, we got the train came, we jumped on the train. He got off at 161st at Yankee Stadium, but I stayed on to go up to Fordham Road. I remember, we was like, yo, like when the door closed, I'm sitting there like, yo, I can't believe this, because that's what they teach you. Like when you're in school, it's like, okay, when you graduate, you have to get an internship. And that's what I asked him. I said, yo, you mean if I come to work for y'all, I could get free studio time and all that? He was like, yeah. He said, call me. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo. So now it's like I got the internship. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's crazy. So anyway, so I called him, and he was like, yo, come down. You know what I mean? So I come down. The studio was a Giant Recording Studio. It was on 57th and Broadway. You know what I'm saying? And I go down there, and he in the room. He was not only a studio manager, but he was a singer. Like, studio manager was like a side hustle. He was a singer, songwriter, and he was working with this guy named David Nickturn, a Jewish guy. You know what I mean? Who was responsible for like making the music for One Life to Live. It was a soap opera. I don't know if it still comes on, but it did at that time. But anyway, he would make the music, background music, and all of that. So Scott would help him write and do vocals and all of that. So they were working in this little room, bored, and so I've been around that since being around Chief. You know what I mean? But then he's here. So we were talking and chatting and everything. And I was like, yeah, yo, this is fly. Then he's like, yo, let me introduce you to somebody. And he introduced me to Grammy winning engineer and artist by the name of Prince Charles Alexander. He's known for, a lot of bad boy heat, records. He did Not Gonna Cry for Mary J. Was it Not Gonna Cry? I think it was Not Gonna Cry, but it was one of them amazing hits. He did If You Think You're Lonely Now with Casey and JoJo, and like a whole bunch of people, I probably talk about him because he's one of my mentors too. Well, I'll probably talk to him again. But, all right, so he come take me into the studio, like, let me show you, introduce you to somebody. So we go through the hallway, go through this door, right? And then with a lock on it. So he goes, get the key, goes in, then we like going, it's like a little room going with another door. You can go to the right with the door going into the vocal booth, or go to the left going into the control room. We went to the left. And I seen this black man sitting behind this huge board. He had gold rings. He was like, like Prince Charles has got like a swag that's like, like, I don't know. He kind of remind me of Miles Davis. Like that kind of cool. Like, like sophisticated, educated, like, upper class. Like, like his mom's probably, raised him in Yonkers. I mean, not Yonkers, but what's that thing? Mount Vernon, wherever Denzel Washington from. He was like that, But when I seen him as a black man sitting behind that boy, I said, yo, I could do that. I seen me in him. Because he had swag and everything. When I was going to the studio with G's, it was like the engineers was like white boys. They, like they didn't dress nice. They had no swagger. They just like, they look, they was weirdos. But he go black man, like, I said, yo, I could do this. Anyway, make a long story short, I was like, yo, I want the job. So Scott was like, now because I'm thinking about the name, I gotta figure out how to fix that because I don't know. I probably shouldn't use his name, so I'm gonna say Scott Brown. But he was like, he's like, yo, I'm keep in touch with me. I'll set you up a meeting with the owner, Doug Pell. So he was like, yo. He set up the, because I'm trying to think of because he set up an interview. Me and Doug Pell, I came down to meet with Doug Pell, the owner of the studio. He was a co-owner with Joe Salvato. Joe Salvato was Italian, obviously, and Doug Pell was a Jewish man. He's my mentor. Like he probably single-handedly had the most impact, on a consistent basis than anybody on my career. But anyway, he has we doing the interview, and like out of nowhere, he was like, "Yo, have you ever been to prison?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, 'cause you got jailhouse eyes." And I said, "Yo, I paid my debt to society, and I never, it's like I don't feel like I owe anybody anything." I said, "Yo, that was my way of getting that, the house with a picket fence, But I realized that was the wrong route, So I changed my ways. So anyway, he told me to, keep in touch, and that, and if you got something, he'll let me know. So call me like in 2 weeks. So, by the time I got back home, I'm trying to think. I don't even know if cell phones was out, because this was like 95, 96, something like that. But anyway, I think, let's say it's 95. I came home. Anyway, so 95 in May, so we had the interview. So anyway, Scott calls me and like, yo, he said, yo, I didn't know you had been to prison. I said, yeah. It's like it's not something that I go around telling people. So he was like, yo, see, there's a situation. He said, I'm gay. So he talking about himself. He said, he telling me that he's gay, and that and that Doug thinks that, like me and like he's trying to hire me to have like one of somebody he's interested in or dealing with or something, like coming to work at the studio. And I told Scott, I said I'm not worried about that because I'm not gay. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, all right. Anyway, he said, he said, what did he tell you? He said he told me to call back in 2 weeks. He said, so call him. So in 2 weeks call. Now this is in May. 2 weeks say, he called back. Hello, am I speak to Doug? Tell him George you calling. He was like, yeah, I'll talk to him. He's like, no, I don't have nothing right now, but call me back in another couple of weeks. So this goes on all the way up until November. Every 2 weeks, I'm calling him. Like, remember I told you, Puffy said, follow through. I didn't know that at the time, but that's just my nature, is to follow through. But anyway, I followed through. So here come November. So I hadn't talked to Scott no more, because now it's like, I know he's gay. So it's like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, ain't nothing for us to really talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, so I called him and like, yo, what's going on with your man Doug, man? Yeah, he been telling me, call Scott. You know what I mean? He's like, yo, he be telling me that, call him back. He, you know what I mean? Like what's going on, man? What, you know what I mean? Yo, Scott Brown was like, he was surprised that I'm still in touch with him. You know what I mean? He's like, what? You still calling him? Oh my God. Listen, where are you? So I was in Jersey, I was working. So he's like, yo, on your way in the city, come check me. So I went and checked him, right? So now I come check him. So now I go in the studio, and we in the room, that first one, the little room that he smoked, that he working, writing music. So he's like, so we start talking. So he's like, yo, I like you, and this and that. He said, yo, he like all that fruity stuff, and I don't know if I could be, around all this stuff. So I'm just like, you know what I mean, like looking at this nigga like. He said, yo, well, I just want to suck ya. And I said, yo, I don't get down like that. He said, good answer. He turned around, picked up the phone, called Doug and was like, yo, this guy is, he's a great guy. We need to hire him. Doug said something. He hangs up the phone. He said, yo, Doug said for you to come start tomorrow. Now, if I had blacked out, like, I told this story, some nigga be like, yo, I would have whipped his dad, and you know what I mean? But it's the art of peace. Stand your ground. I ain't got to be aggressive. And I ain't got to back up. Pause. No Diddy. You know what I'm saying? But, I stood my ground. You know what I mean? And anyway, that gave me the opportunity to work for the studio I started. And, it was like, and I'm here now. You know what I mean? Still, going strong, So that's my, my story of how I got into the music industry, My next episode, I want to talk about now, but we ain't had time. But my next episode, I'm gonna be talking about Diddy. You know what I'm saying? How I got the job with Diddy. You know what I mean? And how they told me it was something right before I got hired to set the ground up for what I will be dealing with. And I will deal with that in the next episode. But I just want to thank you for your time. You know what I'm saying? Let me just check my notes, make sure I covered everything. Yeah, we're going to cover that next week. You know what I mean? And I talk about Queen Latifah. I think I said about Queen Latifah, setting up the situation for me to get hired, telling Doug he needed to hire some black faces if he wanted to work. you know. So all I do is ask you at this time, to make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? So that, you know what I mean. So I don't have to flash the PayPal symbol. You know what I mean? I'll be getting my money straight from YouTube. You know. So I hope you can, you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit a thumb up. If you hated it, hit a thumb down. But most of all, thank you for your time. Love, peace, and happiness.
P Funk City G.